Now on the guest home page, we will implement the bottom navigation bar. So we will have basically 5 buttons on the bottom navigation bar. For example, I will initialize the titles for those pages, or you can say for those buttons on the bottom navigation bar. So first one, you will have explore, favorites, trips, inbox, and profile. Now let's create the pages on these names. For example, right click on guest, new dot file. First page is explore page. Let's create the other one, which will be saved properties page, or you can say the favorites. Then another one is for the trips, which you as a user or as a guest has booked. You will see those trips on the trips page. Similarly, another one on the 4th index, we have the inbox page. And then finally, at the last index, we will have the account page. For now, we will just create the empty pages since we are connecting it to the bottom navigation bar. So for example, this is the account page, and in the scaffold body at the center, we can add our text widget, and we will display text on it as this is account page. So we will say welcome to account, or you can say accounts page. Now let's do the same on the other empty pages. For example, inbox page. Make sure to rename this. This is inbox page. So now we have all the pages which we will connect to our bottom navigation bar. So now on the guest home page, let's also access. Now we will initialize a list by the name pages, and for example, on the first index, the title is explore. So the first page we will have is explore page. Then the next one is favorites, or you can say saved page, and then we have trips, for which we have trips page, and then we have inbox, for which we have inbox page, and then the last index we have profile, which is the account page. Now we will have 5 buttons, or you can say 5 navigation items. So let's create a reusable function for that. So each bottom navigation bar button, or you can say bottom navigation bar item, it will have icon and a title. So let's implement this function, which will receive the index, that is which page it is, since we have to also differentiate between the active button, that is on which the user click, and the non-active buttons, that is the other bottom navigation bar buttons. And for each navigation item, or you can say button, we will have icon. Alongside with it, we will have the title, or you can say the text for that specific button. So we say return bottom navigation bar item. Icon will be icon data, active icon will be icon data, and label, that is we display the text alongside with it. Now in the app constants, let's initialize 2 colors, that is for the selected icon and non-selected. So selected means, as I said, the one on which the user will click, it will have white color, and other than that, the non-selected one will have a gray color. Make sure to remove this dot UI. Okay, it belongs to the color, and colors belongs to the material dot. So now let's assign the color to it. Icon data, that is the icon which we receive here as parameter. So this is basically the non-active, so we can assign the color to it. Non-selected icon, and then also for the active icon, we will have the selected icon color. So we have a reusable function using which we can build buttons, which needs the page index, the icon for that page, that button, and the title for that button. Navigation bar item, or you can say navigation button. For example, for explore page we will have separate icon and title. For saved page we will have separate icon and title, and for trips page we will have separate icon and title, and so on for the other ones. So let's do that. Now after the app bar, at the body we will display the pages. So pages. Now by default, which page you want to display. For example, I will initialize here an integer type selected index variable, and I initialize it with 0. So by default I want to display the explore page. Let's say you may want to display the profile page by default, so you can write the index number for this page, okay, accounts page, which is for example 0th index 1 2 3 4. So like you can write 4 here, and by default it will display the profile page. Anyways, I want to display the explore page, so I will assign the selected index. Bottom navigation bar, on tap we add the click event to it. When the user click on any button, let's first complete this, then I will explain it. Current index will be the selected index. Type bottom navigation bar type dot fixed items. Now we call the reusable function using which we will build our buttons, bottom navigation bar buttons, or you can say navigation items. So for example, we have to pass the index. So for example, now at the 0th index we have the explore page, and the icon for this we have icon dot search, and then the next property is the next parameter is the title for that specific page. So for the explore page we have the page title 0 title, so at the 0th we have explore. So for example, we have the title explore, the page explore page, okay, we specify the first button for which we have this icon, and this is the index number for the page. Now for example, for the second one we have the index number 1, which means this page. Saved page, then the icons for it, the icon is favorite border, and the title for this from the page titles at the first index, that is 1, so 1 is favorite, so it will have this title favorite with this icon, and same goes for the other ones. Now when the user click on any button, then on the basis of that we will display that specific page title. So now let's install the app on the phone. I write the Gmail incorrect, it is gmail.com, and one thing is on the login page we have to write here the default case, as this is login page, so we can say login failed. Login failed, please try again later. So anyways, now you are logged in successfully, and now let me explain this piece of code which we write here. So you see the 5 buttons: navigation bar items, explore, favorite, trips, inbox, and profile. Each button has icon with a title with a text. 0th index, 1 index, 2 index, 3 index, and 4 index. This is exactly how we define it, that is the titles for it and the pages, and then we create a reusable function using which we display these 5 buttons by passing their required index number for the pages and for the titles, and of course each one has their own icon. Now if you see, by default we are on the explore page, so it is highlighted with white color, the other ones are with gray color. So by default when you are logged in, you will see the explore page. Then is this on tap click event, which simply means that if I click on, let's say, this one, then the index of this one, which is 0 1 2, 2 will be assigned to the selected index, and that's why on the user interface you will see that this button will become highlighted with a white color and the other one with gray. And now if you click here, then this will become active, the other ones are non-active. If you click here, this become active, the other ones non-active. Now let's work on the accounts page. On this page we will basically implement 3 buttons. One of them will be for displaying the user dashboard. Either if a user is an end user, that is guest, then for guest we have this dashboard which you already see, and then when the user click on become host, or you can say show my host dashboard, then this dashboard will be changed to the host dashboard. So for that purpose we will initialize here a string type variable, the default dashboard, which will be guest dashboard. So that's why to this we assign this value, that is if the user want, the user can go to the host dashboard, to his or her host dashboard, where the user can become host and start uploading property listings. And after it we will implement a reusable widget function which will return a widget which will be action tile. Basically these 3 buttons we will implement. Among one of them will be show my host dashboard, or you can say show my guest dashboard. One will be the logout button and the other one will be show my profile info. As we will have 3 buttons, so instead of writing the code, the same code 3 times, we will make this code reusable. We create this function in which we implement that reusable code, which will receive the context, the text which we want to display on that button, the icon we want to display there, and the click event, of course. Other than this, of course, we will implement the user profile image, the information as well here. So let's just implement this design for the buttons. According to the screen height, divide by 9.5. At the leading we display the text for this button, and then after the leading at the trailing we display the icon. And now let's implement the user interface. Now one thing we need is we want to display the add a dependency for displaying large texts. So for example, if a text is too much large, then it will automatically resize itself. And in Flutter we have a dependency for that. It is called auto size text. Return scaffold widget, body single child scroll view, child padding from left, top, right, bottom. First we display the circle, using the circle avatar we display the user profile image. And then after this profile image, using the auto size text, which belongs to the auto size text package, or you can say plugin, we display the full name of the user. By default it will be 24. Let's say if the username is too much long, then it will auto resize according to the screen size, according to your phone size. Then after it we display the email, and then using our build action title we are going to display our 3 buttons. So as you know, to this we need to pass context, text, the title, or you can say the text we want to display on the button, the icon, and the click event. So context, the text we want to display on the button, the icon, and the click event. Same goes for the other buttons. Now let's add these function. For now we will just call it here. And then of course stepwise we will implement it. And then the logout user function. Logout is simple. We have to just say firebase auth.instance.signout and then send the user to the login page. Firebase auth belongs to the Firebase auth package. Now let's check the result. If you go to the profile, then here we go. The profile image, the username, user email, and the 3 buttons. Now in this video, we will allow a user to become a host. So when any user for the first time click on this show my host dashboard, we will enable the hosting for that specific user. So let's do that. Go to the user objects inside the user model. We will implement a function for that. Now we will manage that using our Firestore database. That is, each user has a value for the key is host. So anytime when the user click on this button, let's say as it is showing show my host dashboard, so when the user click on it, it will become true. It means now the user will view the host dashboard. And then when the user click on show my guest dashboard, then it will become false again, and then the user will see this current dashboard again. So it will be switching between the host and guest dashboard on the basis of this is host boolean type value. It will be either true or false. So by default, you know, it will be false, as you know that here we have this is host. False is assigned to it, which means when it is false, it means it is the user. User means the guest. And when it is true, it means it is the host. So let's implement a function become host. We will assign to the is host true value, and then we initialize a data map, and this key name we are going to update. So assign the true value to it, and then this data, that is the is host, we want to update at the specific for the specific user who just click on this button. So inside the users collection, that specific user, the is host value will be updated. And then after it, we call this function which is change currently hosting and pass true value to it as parameter. And let's implement this, which receive the true value as a parameter. So assign the is hosting, that is the boolean value, to the is currently hosting. Now on the accounts page, inside the change hosting function, we will call that function become host. But first of all, we need the host dashboard. So for now, let's create an empty dashboard. So for example, inside the lib, all you need to do is create a new folder by the name host, and we will just add a dot file to it by the name home host dashboard, host homepage. Host homepage. For now, add a bar to which you can add a text title, and that title will be You can say welcome to host dashboard, or just you can say host. So now in here, first make sure to add the root for the new page, which is host homepage dot root name, and this will be the root. So root name here we will first check if the current user is host. Then it simply means that the current user is already host and there is no need to change the user status to hosting. Otherwise, if the current user is not already a host, then we must change the status, that is the is host we must set to true by calling the function inside the else statement. So for example, app_constant.currentUser become host, which is this function where we update the is host to true, that is that user, current user become the host. So when it is complete, then we assign true value to the is currently hosting as well, that is the current user is now hosting. And on the basis of this variable, this boolean variable, we will set the title, that is update the title on the user interface. So it will be, if it is true, then it means it will be show my guest dashboard, and if it is false, it means you will see this title, which is show my host dashboard. So let's complete this first. So now in the if statement, it means that when the current user is already a host, then in that case we have to just update the is currently hosting value. So for example, we will say if the is currently hosting is true, then simply assign false value to the is currently hosting, and then of course send the user to the guest home page, and then the else part will be assign true value to the is currently hosting and send the user to the host home page. Now this code is important. Let me explain again. So for example, here we are checking if the current user is already host. If he is already host, it means that it will have a true value. So it will skip this if statement and it will execute this else part, where first it will make sure to make the current user host. You know that the current user will become host. And then also on the user interface, we want to change the title. When the user become host, the user will see the host dashboard, and then here you will see show my guest dashboard text, because the user will want to switch back to the guest dashboard after when the user is sent to the host dashboard. So in that case, when is currently hosting is true, then the host page will be displaying to the user. At that time, the user will see the host dashboard, that is the user is a host at that time when the is currently hosting is true. Now if the user is already a host, as I said, then all we need to do is just to make sure that if the is currently hosting is true, assign false value to the is currently hosting, and when is currently hosting is false, it simply means the user will be on the guest home page. Other than that, the else part, which is assign true to the is currently hosting, and when it is true, it means the user at that time will be the host and the user will see the host dashboard. Now let's update the title for that. So we will implement here the built-in init state function. If the is host, if the current user is host, and if the current user is not the host. So if the current user is host, in that at that time the hosting title we will recognize on the basis of is currently hosting. So if is currently hosting is true, then display this title, else display this title. And then the else part, as you know, if the current user is not a host, then it will have this default become a host button, which is the current scenario. For example, Now I want to install the app on the phone so that we can test the app and see the result for it. Profile, and you see the become a host, because currently this condition will execute as the current user is not yet the host. So now as soon as I click on become a host, you see the user is sent to the host, that is the user become now the host, and in the database it is now true. I mean, we have not yet implemented the host dashboard. Once we implement that, then we will test this other switching, which is to switch back to the guest dashboard from the host dashboard. Now let's implement the host dashboard just like we implemented the guest dashboard. In the same way we can do it here. We will have 5 pages here. Right click on host, new .file. One will be the bookings page. The next one will be the my postings page. Then the earnings page. The account page and the inbox page will be common between the host and guest. Okay, so we have already the inbox and the account page. So now, for example, I will copy this piece of code from here, close the other one. This is earnings page. Then the my postings page. And then the bookings page. So now here on the host page, we will initialize a list for the page titles. These will be the page titles for the host dashboard. For the navbar items, or you can say navbar buttons, these are the titles. Then for the pages, we define the pages list in the init state. We will initialize the list, that is the pages list with the pages of the host dashboard. Now remember that the user come to this page, to the account page, and from the account page the user click the button show my host dashboard. So when the user comes here to the host home page, that is to this page, it will also receive the index number, index, this dot index, and then we initialize the selected index with 4th, which means this one for the earnings page. Let's define those pages as well. So we can say that selected index, to this we assign the index number which we receive here in the host home page as parameter. Otherwise, let's say if there is no index page, then it will be 4. And then pages, and the pages are bookings page, my posting page, inbox, earnings, and accounts page. My posting page name is my postings page. Now let's implement that reusable function for displaying the navigation bar buttons. Build navigation item which receive these parameters. We display the icon, the active icon, and label for that, and then we display the pages on the body. Body pages, selected index, bottom navigation bar, the current index is the selected index, and then also apply the other properties, background color, selected, unselected item color, the label style for the selected and unselected, and then on tab we assign the index to the selected index. which simply means that on any new navigation button, when the user click that new page, that new button index, or you can say that new page index, will be assigned to the selected index, and as a result of that you will be moved, that is, you will see on the user interface that new page. So let's build that buttons to which we pass this parameter. So now if we check, show my host dashboard, and here we go. You can see this is the host dashboard, and on the host dashboard you see the bookings page, the posting page, inbox, earnings, and the profile. Now of course here earnings, this is my postings page, and this is bookings page. Make sure to give it a proper name on the app bar so that you see it. One more thing is, on the host homepage also display the name of the selected page at the app bar. On the guest homepage we have already applied that. So now this is how our host dashboard looks. Now as the current user is already become a host, so now you can switch between the host and guest dashboard and you will see the text. So for example, currently the user is now inside the guest dashboard, so it is showing show my host dashboard. When you click on it, now you are inside the host dashboard, and the text on the button is now show my guest dashboard. So you can switch back to the guest dashboard, and so on. You can switch back to the host dashboard.